Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all the listeners on the airwaves. This is your boy Mike V-Dub with another special episode of RealTime RealTalk, where it's safe space and safe vibes. Today, this evening, we have a very special guest with us. She's a really dear friend of mine. I've known her all of my high school life, 100% for sure, and I'm pretty sure I've known her in middle school as well. She has been in the Army over 10 years, 12 years, 13 years, something like that. Probably as long as me. I've been in the Marine Corps for 15 years. She has been in the U.S. Army for a long time. And without further ado, to introduce to some and to present to many, my dear friend, U.S. soldier Kiaya Jackson.
Are you ready?
How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Thanks
doing
for
good.
having me on.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support and coming on such short notice. I really do appreciate it.
No problem.
Um, so just to give you a little rundown, so on my podcast, right, like my center topic, right, is basically just health. Like that's the main like focus. So it can be physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, financial health, anything that alludes to health is a welcome topic on my podcast. So again, it's good to have you on. I like your glasses, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, look at my like. Yeah, I still got my demo glasses on, but I appreciate you. So let's get to it. Just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, and how like we met and everything. Just give the listeners a rundown.
All right. Well, it's just like you said. My name is Kiaya Jackson. I am a native of the Goldsboro, North Carolina. Born and
Oh,
raised.
pause. Wait, where are you from?
G Borough from Goldsboro.
Let's go,
Yeah. So, born and
Cougar Pride,
raised.
baby, Cougar Pride.
That part. Born and raised there. Like I said, me and Mikey, we met in middle school, high school. We were really,
Right.
really good friends with his sister Finale. Shout out to
Come on now, shout out to
Finale.
finale.
And we just never lost touch. So
Right.
after high school, I went to college. I went to Campbell University.
Okay. Shout out to
Upon
Campbell.
upon going to Campbell University, I have a twin sister Mariah. So her and I both decided to pretty much essentially take our talents up north. We moved to the DMV area. We moved to Maryland. And yeah, sorry, that's my dog. I don't know why he's acting up, but we went to Maryland, and then that's when I decided to join the United States Army, where I
Okay.
am a soldier. And this year, come March 2025, I will be in the military of Army for
Nice.
13 years. Mm-hmm.
So you've been active duty for how many years?
13 years
Okay,
active
cool,
duty
cool,
the
cool,
entire
cool.
time.
So I got you on a couple of years because this year, November of this year of 2025 will make my 15-year mark. So I'm at like 14 years and 2 months right now.
Yeah, I
So
think you did go in like a couple years before I decided
yeah,
to go in.
I joined the Marine Corps November 1st, 2010 is when I stepped on the yellow
Okay.
footprints.
And that was
Yeah.
2012 October. Okay.
Nice, nice, nice. So that's good. That's good. So like just tell the listeners like what was it about the Army? Like did you try other branches first? Like were you already set on the Army? Like how did that process work as far as being recruited?
So it was an accident. I tell people all the time, like I joined the military by accident. So my sister Mariah, when we moved up here, she went to Bowie University for undergrad. And one
Uh-huh.
day I was visiting her because she was trying to go into the officer candidacy program.
Right.
I went to visit her, and her recruiter end up recruiting me, which is so weird. And we end up doing the switcheroo. She's not in the military and I am. So it just became one of those things that we kind of laugh about because I
Mm-hmm.
had no intention of ever joining the military. But life, takes a toll sometimes. And at the time, it was just an opportunity that I could not give up. And I
Right.
decided, okay, why not? So
Okay.
at the time, I was doing some bridal consulting
Right.
downtown DC and working also at Loft. And even though those jobs were great, it wasn't something that I wanted to pursue as a long time career. At the time, truthfully, I wasn't sure what I was going to do career wise after school. So yeah, going there to just visit her turned into me talking with her recruiter. And long story short, I ended up joining. And here
Okay.
I am now, 13 years later.
Nice. So okay, so walk us through that process in the beginning. So you joined, like like I mean, I don't know y'all's process, but like how did the boot camp thing work? Like what happened?
So boot camp was hard.
Okay.
As you know me, I mean, some things never change. I'm super prissy, super very dainty. I had no idea what I was going into. Backstory with my family, I have relatives that are actually my siblings are military. So I have a brother and
Okay.
a sister who was already serving once I joined, and it was everything that they said it was. Experience wise, I had no idea that I was physically capable of doing certain things. Like never had done push-ups before, never
Right.
was running, you know, uh what 15, 17 minute 2 miles, like stuff like that. I wasn't
Right.
doing just for leisure, you know what I mean? So
Uh huh.
it definitely whipped me into shape. It definitely put a lot of things into perspective that I just didn't think that I could even do. Boot camp was tough. I know you've been a Marine. You guys will probably laugh at the Army, but
Nah, not at all. I was actually, when I was in my last combat deployment to Syria, we were sharing the joint operation base with the
with
Army
Army.
when I
Oh,
was in
awesome.
Syria for Operation Inherent Resolve. Very
Yeah.
good
Okay.
group of people, man. They're good pieces of gear for sure.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I mean,
yeah,
hey, we Army strong. I mean,
right,
especially
right, right,
like throughout my career being a drill sergeant and things, drill sergeant leader as well as you guys call them DI. So I did both
right.
sides of it, but boot camp was tough, but it definitely broke down my civilian ways, I would say. Definitely built me up as a soldier. I learned a lot of disciplines. I learned to look at the world differently.
Right.
It definitely was something that I would say was probably the best decision I could have made. And in counting, right? So now I've been in this career for 13 years. It's been extremely fulfilling. Like I just said, by trade, I'm medical. I'm a part of the medical corps or medcom. So I'm a 68 golf, which is a patient administration specialist. So pretty much what
Right.
I do as like my primary MOS is just record keeping, things like that. It's administrative. However, I've been fortunate enough to compete and do things on a grander, larger scale. And I became a drill sergeant and a drill sergeant leader. So those things kind of pushed me into where I am right now in my career.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Real good. Real good. Real good. Okay, so how does the process for your military occupational specialty work?
So normally, like when you take the ASVAB, you have to score a certain score. I think for Army, the lowest score you have to even get in, I think it's like a 31 or something like that. And then the
Hmm.
higher up that you score, like 90s or 80s, you get military intelligence, or you get MOSs like that. So for me, I know talking to my recruiter, because I was afraid of what the military was, and I just was not sure what I wanted to do at that time. I just
Right.
knew that I didn't want to go to war. I knew that I didn't
Right.
want to
Right.
be on
Right.
the front lines. At that time, I wasn't very versed on what the is in the Army. So I was like, hey, I just want a paper job. I just want to do this. I know I
Right.
didn't want to be a cook or anything like that. So
Right.
I ended up looking up and I got patient administration specialist. So for us, we obtain our MOSs through whatever score we get, and then they'll line up some line scores, and then they'll give us a plethora of options depending on security clearances and things like that. And it just so happened all the things that were provided, I was like, yeah, I want to do this job because this job seemed like I won't be outside, I won't be getting dirty. I still had the type of mind frame of like, I just want to like pass by, and I get in and I just realized like, wow, like this organization is about so much more. And honestly, I didn't even know that I would be that interested to even do more. And I just did. So
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So yeah, that's kind of how it was for me, right? So like when I first joined the Marine Corps, I was open contract. So
mm,
with open contract, like you don't really get to pick what they pick what they want you to be essentially. So I had my first original MOS was maintenance administration, aircraft maintenance administration Marine,
mm,
and I did not like it. I just felt like it just wasn't the Marine is type esque job for me.
got
So
it.
I did a lateral move into field artillery.
Oh,
So
okay.
once I did that, like my career like opened up and I did a lot more, went a lot more places, did a lot more things. You know, so that was a good time.
Mm, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
can see you doing field artillery. I can see
Say
it.
say that again.
So I can see you doing field artillery.
Yeah,
I can see it.
I've been field artillery like so I've been in for 15 years. I've been field artillery for like 11, 12 of the 15.
Oh,
So
wow.
I wasn't my original MOS for long.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. So like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think that's the great thing about the Army. Like they actually, in contrast to a lot of other branches of service, we really do get our pick based on certain things. Like they'll give us a slew of things
Mhm.
we can choose from, like
Right.
off the gate,
Right.
and we have an opportunity to do that, or we can reclass, such as what you did.
Right.
So I was very happy that I was able to, luckily, get the MOS that I did, and then still be able to do the things that I've done, still holding that primary MOS. So.
Right. 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 Okay. Cool. So, talk to us about like your experience as a female in the military.
Oh, I mean, you sure we got time for that? Because I mean, woo,
Nah, we got time
we
today.
got
Look at
time.
my wrist. I got time today.
Um, so before I get into nitty gritty, I'm gonna be honest. My experience as a woman, a black woman in the United States Army, as I said, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve. Still serving, still defending.
Hmm.
Um, it's been the best thing that has been like paramount to me in the things that I've learned, the lessons I've learned, the people
Right.
that I've met, and things of that nature. Now, with that being said, I'm not taking anything away from that experience. It was a lot because, showing up as my authentic self every day, sometimes you had to chip away at things. Like
Hmm.
sometimes it's not the mission, it's the people. And it's the people that's in power and in these
Right.
positions. And then it's like you and your morals and your code of ethics. And, it takes a lot on you. If you're not grounded in who you are, you can like kind of blow with the wind depending on who you meet. And
Right.
I don't know how it is for you guys rotations, like going to certain stations. I know for us we call it our permanent change of station PCS season. Like every
Hmm.
3 years we're going to meeting different leaders, and different
Right.
people. And if you're not grounded in who you are, like that could change and you lose your identity.
Right.
So, my experiences in the service, because I was rooted and grounded in certain values, I didn't change as much like as the core of who I am as a person, but some things did affect me a lot. Like it was a lot. I've dealt with racism, I've dealt with the sexism,
Mm.
I've dealt with the classism, uh a whole lot of things. Like coming into the gate, when I came in, I joined the service, I was 23. I turned 24 during my basic training, AIT type training, and I was surrounded with a lot of 17, 18-year olds. So even though I was relatively young, they're looking at me like I'm ancient, like I'm old. So
Right.
ages of, a whole bunch of stuff. And it was just quite the learning experience.
Hmm.
I don't take it for granted. And like I said, I wouldn't change anything because, I learned a lot of stuff.
Right.
I've been privileged to be in spaces that a lot of people have not and learn a lot of things in those spaces. However, it is what it is. Like, I still went through a lot of things and,
Right.
you know, definitely built some character.
Right. I
I,
mean, no, as long as nobody don't put their hands on you, you good.
no, so I never went to do stuff like that. More
Because then we then
so,
because then we would have to go to the armory.
oh, okay.
And no, we ain't got time for that.
So so we're not gonna do that.
Right.
I've never been like the violent type. Like I've always been able to be very poised and like handle myself. I think in a mature manner. But I did have instances where I had to you know get people together or do some straightening, if you will. But
Right.
for the most part, those times were far and few. But when they did occur, it definitely took a toll. And especially when I became a drill sergeant.
Right.
I was a drill sergeant in combat arms. I was at
Right.
Fort Benning, which is now called Fort Moore, and I was a drill sergeant to the
Right.
Capital Scouts there. And that was definitely an experience because being a woman of color in an infantry world, like there is no room for us. However, they're integrating women, and so we had to make room, if that makes sense. And it was a lot. It was a lot, but you just kind of dig deep, find some grit and carry on.
Right.
And that's what I did.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, for the the parts of that conversation that was a detriment to you, as far as you it shaping a negative aspect of being a woman in the military, I apologize for that on behalf of my gender. Because sometimes we be doing whatever, but like I used to tell all my recruits, right? Like I don't care what you got between your legs. You can have a penis, a vagina, both of them, none of them. You can be a guy and like a guy, want to marry a guy. I don't care. Can you put the bullet in the enemy's brain? Can you cover my six? That's
Okay.
it. Like the commandant of the Marine Corps does not care about your sexual orientation. He does not care about who you love and who you like. He
Right.
cares about how lethal can that Marine be to destroy the enemy. Locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver, and repel the enemy assault by fire and close combat. That's all he cares about. How
Exactly.
lethal are you going to be? So, yeah, man. Shout out to Kaya though.
Thank you. I just think
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I just think in those spaces it just comes down to like who you know you are to be as a person.
Right.
Um, you know, being in the military is no different than just being a regular woman and in the regular workforce and just having to kind of fight through those microaggressions or people not thinking that you're worthy or that you belong there or if you can do the job. Like it happens in the military as well. No matter, it's just I feel like being a woman of color and in these spaces is harder for us we have to work twice as hard. We have to prove ourselves when, some other people, they have the luxury of just kind of just completing the task. With us, it's like, well, how do you know how to do this? It's always the questioning and the nuances of those things. So just having
Right.
to combat
Exactly.
those things is kind of like, look,
Right.
I I'm good at my job. I'm probably better than you. But it's
Right.
like you have to work 10 times as hard to be recognized. And I
Right.
feel like in my career, I've dealt with that more than probably anything, you
So
know.
you could kind of relate to the movie The 688.
Oh, absolutely. Watching
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah. Go ahead. Talk to the people about it.
So, I will be honest. I had no idea who Captain Cherry Adams was. And then seeing the story, like when I say I was so overcome with emotion, that's an understatement. In the opening scenes, like when you go
Uh huh.
past the one young lady dating the gentleman, but just going into it and the conversation she has as they're lined up like in their bay and she's telling them like how to wear a uniform and not wearing complicated makeup and
Right.
you gotta work harder, you gotta make things work. Just in those opening lines, I felt such a overwhelming sensation of emotion because I'm just like, man, I felt like she was talking to me essentially, young private Kaya, private Jackson at the time, because I
Right.
didn't have anybody. I didn't have like my first mentor was male. I didn't have a woman come up to me and say, hey, this is what you're going to be up against. This is what's going to happen to you. My first mentor was retired now, it's on first class, Terry Keefe. And he was the one that recognized me and said, hey, there's something special about you. You need to do this, this, and this. As a woman, you have to carry yourself this way in the military. You have to do X, Y, and Z. But that movie was so important for people to see that was just yesterday and it's still
Right.
happening today. Like
Right.
exactly how she said it, it's
Hmm.
still happening today. And these are the things that we still have to, go through and
And
combat.
2025, crazy, right?
Exactly. It's happening still. And you look at the president right now, our commander in chief, and the things that he's doing with these executive orders and getting rid of diversity and inclusiveness and essentially pushing us back to Jim Crow, it's disheartening, but
Right.
I've never known for us to back down from a challenge, so
Hmm.
we just keep going forward.
Well, me and you, we already have our little thing going on for what we're gonna do for part two. So that's gonna end the question part of this interview. So now we're gonna play a couple of games, and then we're gonna. I know you probably have a busy schedule, so I won't hold you long. But so this first game is gonna be do you know? So obviously I'm gonna
Okay.
ask you a question, and if you know it, then you're gonna give me the answer. And if you get the correct answer, you're gonna hear this. And then if you have the wrong answer, you're gonna hear this. You're gonna hear the little beep if you get it
Okay.
wrong. All right, good.
Yep, sounds good.
What branch of service is the oldest in the United States of America?
So I think it's gonna be the National Guard is the oldest.
You could have just said Army, but cool. That
Yeah,
works
National
too.
Guard
Yep.
because
The
yeah,
United States Army, what birthday was like what, June 1775,
yep,
right?
1775. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, June 1775. I know another
National
branch who was
Guard.
born in 1775.
Oh boy.
10 November, baby. Come on now. 10 November, baby. Shout out to the Marine Corps. Shout out to the Army.
Okay, whore.
All right. Okay. Now we got another question for you. Who And I hope you know this because I do not know the answer.
Oh boy, let's see.
So, who was the first Army soldier to be awarded the Medal of Honor?
Oh, that has to be Sergeant Audie Murphy.
Sergeant Audie Murphy?
Gotta be.
Okay. I'm about to
To be
look
awarded
because
the Medal of
I'm about to
Honor?
go on Google and look because I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't know.
Because
I can
I'm
tell you
actually Sergeant Audie Murphy, so it has to be Sergeant Audie Murphy because I know he's the most decorated Army soldier that we ever had. And
first Army. I feel like it's somebody at before him, but first Army.
oh boy,
I'm Googling it right now. First Army soldier
to receive the medal.
Medal of Honor.
It's not Audie Murphy.
It was on this date in 1863 that the first Medal of Honor, our nation's highest military award, was presented to Private Jacob Parrott for his part in the Great Locomotive Chase.
That's I knew that. Yep, that's
That's
correct.
he was a soldier, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
Parrot.
but
That's
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
That's correct.
So,
That's correct. That's
well, but I
correct.
gotta hold you accountable. And
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
okay,
Jacob
I
Parrott.
could tell you who the first Marine Corps Medal of Honor
Ah,
recipient is.
come on.
The first Marine Corps Medal of Honor recipient was none other than Corporal John F. Mackey.
Excuse me.
Shout out. All
Yeah,
right,
Jacob
now
Parrott.
what we're gonna do? Okay, we're gonna switch games. This one is called the hot seat. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and you just gotta be honest, like what you would do in that situation.
Oof. Okay.
All right. Okay, so welcome to the hot seat. So you're driving in your car, right? You are driving in your car. The police pull you over. They come up to your window. They knock on your window. You roll it down, right? Once you roll it down, they ask you, "Ma'am, have you seen this woman? She's a wanted fugitive for double murder." And it's a picture of Kiaya Jackson. Would you dime her out or would you lie?
I'm like, sorry to this woman. I ain't never seen this woman a day in my life.
Hey,
Nah,
come
he
on
the Kiki
now. Come
Palmer.
on now.
Hey, listen, that's my twin. I don't know who that is. I ain't never seen this woman a
So
day in
so you
my
wouldn't dime
life.
her out. So you wouldn't dime out your sister. Hey, shout out to Kaya and Mariah, the
Okay.
twins.
What I look like?
That's good. That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. All right, last one. This one is called Tough Love or Out of Luck. I
Okay.
just jacked up my own game name. The name of the game is Tough Luck
Let's look.
or Show Love. So I'm going to say a scenario and you're going to tell me if you would show them tough love or you would show them love.
Okay.
All right. So Jaleel Holmes comes up to you and is like, "Hey, I need $10,000 cash," and he doesn't give you a reason. Tough luck or are you going to show him love?
Hey, that's the hometown. That's my favorite cousin. I'm showing him love. Hey,
So you
good
just going to
money.
drop 10 stacks?
Yeah.
That's crazy word. He'd be out of luck dealing with me.
Yeah. You gonna get the money.
You well, that's crazy.
I know
Well, shoot, let me
Jaleel.
let me hold $20 to the mall. Let me hold
Yeah.
$20 to the mall.
Yeah. Yeah, he can
Yeah.
get it. He can get 10 cents.
All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate that you coming in, giving us some insight on the Army and females in the military and
Yeah.
everything. Again, shout out to Kaya for joining us on the Real Time Real Talk podcast with your host, me, sole proprietor, Michael Valentine Williams.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.